dance company in Seattle. It had a lot of sort of on weight sensing on the stronger or heavier end. And there's somebody that did the book about it, about Mark, said to Mark, these dancers look like they're really bad dancers.
Interesting.
Because they were moving towards passivity. But that was the whole idea. It was called Songs That Tell a Story, and it was insured beyond the grave, protection on my son. And it had this feeling to it, which I thought was this as a baseline.
Okay.
Weight sensing, not totally actively strong or totally passive.
Right.
But it had the ongoing changing of the flux of the flow.
Okay.
And a sense of letting the gravity end take over some of that weight.
Yeah.
But not total.
So you actually came up with not just, so this idea, the whole idea, this whole, this whole category of what we call heavy, for example, or, the other part, that was your notion.
Well, that's the way I'm not saying at all that I'm the only one that did that, but I think that is what
that you were instrumental in bringing that.
I was part of it for sure, because it was impossible to record the dances of that era. Otherwise, people would have just said sloppy.
And
which a lot of people thought about Twyla's dancing.
Work is sloppy, and
back then.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not clean line, for sure.
Well, that's why it was so important, because it diverged away from that.
Right.
So, what about the symbols? How did that come about?
Well, I think it was me and Janice, maybe. We decided that this was like not having this assertion of yourself. It was like giving that up and collapsing totally into, so there was
Zero assertion.
Zero assertion. It's like letting the gravity force win.
You know what Anne says?
What?
She says that when you do that movement, it's not passive. Or maybe there's a difference between gravity acting on you, and there's another way of you're actively, consciously giving into gravity. So I think her problem is perhaps with the word, and then if you buy into what she's saying, the argument would be then a zero is misleading because it implies that, I mean, that again, this is part of.
No, I hear you. The
This is-
symbology.
I mean,
we
I
should
don't
have
know.
these discussions
Exactly.
more to figure this out, because
It's very
I
rich.
think it's
very
something we needed to have many, many, many years ago, but nobody was interested in talking about it.
So rich. It's so rich, this material, to me. And then what about?
I have to
go ahead.
go.
Oh,
Because I've got
Christmas.
13 people coming over
Oh.
for a holiday party, and I've got to put a turkey in the oven.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Lynn, so great to see you, and thank you for your
happy.
letter
Oh,
and card.
me
Oh, and if you could give me your address.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Here, I'll give you another.
I mean,
slip of
actually,
paper.
this is second part, just the theory thing.
The
I think
different
it's
thing.
really interesting. You can
I'm having
I don't
a
know what
ball.
this
I love it. This is why I hope we could
Yeah.
continue with.
I also am not sure if I can.
What about pinwall
Ball
screw?
That was Pam Schick and Leslie Bishko.
Oh, Pam Schick and Leslie Bishko.
It's in my book in the appendix.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I have to look again.
So pin, ball, screw, or
Right.
spiral.
And when you guys were developing it, were you thinking pictorially as opposed to,
Yes, yes, we were.
yeah.
Okay. And I agree that it doesn't necessarily go in with the straight on bobbin notation. What I do think you can do, however, is, for instance, you could put a pathway of shape, and put it in, like, say, a spiraling.
Or like
That's
a,
interesting.
yeah, the design drawing.
Well, the thing that's
Yeah, design drawing.
design drawing that's nice about that, it's a way of showing the duration.
Yeah, duration.
Because these are fixed in length. And here's one other thing that you may or may not remember. You were at the Ohio, I think this is that Ohio State thing where everybody came.
Yes, the motif conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Right.
so this symbol, and then of course, I remember this was one of the early theory bulletin boards.
Yes.
So
Right.
you
And then we
remember,
decided
and-
to add the little curly
And,
Q.
and the thing that was interesting about that for me was because the people didn't like this at the Laban notation people because the meaning of this means any.
Yes, I know.
And
So
then,
we
you
put in
know,
the
so it
curly
looked like
Q.
you were saying any shape. But the reason that this came about
Mhm.
was because this came about, I don't know if you use this. but
Yes, I
this is
do.
a way-
Yes,
it has,
I do.
I keep saying, you see, that that some of that stuff has infiltrated to
Yes.
the. All right, but
I
you know
use
how
that.
that came about? Because it was on the theory bulletin board, and I was a student, it may have been one of your students.
Uh-huh.
We were trying to figure out a way, and we brought the question up, and she came up, I think with putting it, I don't even remember her name, I could look it up, but she, I think, put it on one side. and
That's
then-
right, she did. You're
And
right.
then
And
it
it was a
decided-
student.
And what I loved about that was the whole thing is of how, you know, the experts all sit around, the people, you know. and-
Sometimes the newest thought, like the one I want to
Exactly.
find symbols for is yield and push, reach and pull.
Oh, yes.
That one is the one that has been most sort of complex because
Yeah.
each one of them could be a thing in itself, like yield,
Right,
push,
right,
reach, pull yourself to it, or
right.
pull it to
And you want a combination symbol.
Yeah, but not too complex. I mean,
Right.
all of our students have been attempting to make new symbols, and none of them work for me because they are all too complex.
And the other problem that sometimes comes up with is that sometimes students or people who don't know, they will come up with a symbol that on the surface works, but because of what other
Right.
symbols, they don't know enough about the
They don't
symbol
have
as a
the
whole
context.
to know
Yeah.
how to, you know. So, and then the other problem, for example, with what you're talking about, finding symbols for that particular paradigm,
Yeah.
someone like me, I have a vague notion, and this is true for me about, even though I used to, they had me teaching fundamentals, but it was such a joke because I didn't have, I mean, it was ridiculous because, well, you know, I know it as a student, you
Mhm.
know, but
Right.
I don't have any anatomy, I don't, you know, my
Okay.
background.
Okay.
So then, with that kind of background, to really develop in a funny way, the students I trust probably would come, or the people, you know, some of these students, they come from such backgrounds of, you know, therapy, and
Yeah.
they're really advanced in their knowledge
Right,
of, you
for
know,
sure.
and they really know the stuff, and you really can't develop a symbol properly if you don't know it. So
I agree.
And when you say, and I say, oh, I'll think about it. I said, how can I develop? I mean, I kind of know, you know. So that's the other part of it.
Well, it comes from that developmental perspective.
Right. Well, that's
From
why I
body.
brought it up, that I don't have the development.
Yeah.
I know about it only in this, someone like me who has a big background in symbols
Yes.
and, you know, other stuff. But I can't, you know, it's like translating Chinese or something for
Right,
me, you
yeah.
see. So that's the other part of it. You need a Renaissance person.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
you.
Well, you
And
know what? I feel like we in the Laban world are training Renaissance people.
it's true.
I totally feel that art is one of the only training systems for looking at global change and
Interesting.
seeing how everything matters, but no one thing is enough
It's all
to encompass the
connected.
whole.
Yes.
So to make
Yeah.
the connections between those things, I think is what is required of us as human
Making
beings in this
connections.
time. Yes, making connections.
You know why we're saying that? That's the title of her great book.
Yes.
Making
Book,
connections.
yes.
Yeah, but I find that over and over again. It's how do we connect all these diverse and seemingly distinct things
That's
to
right.
make a whole that works for the
Right.
world.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
And you
Peggy.
can't do that without having everybody at the table,
That's right.
and so
Come full circle to your initial
Yeah.
idea.
yeah, I agree.